first quarter phase. And that would be at 90 degrees to 135. So it could have like a Mars in Aries and a Venus in Cancer and Leo. That would be an example of a first quarter phase. The soul has been learning to relate to itself and the sense of meaning that the soul has for itself. So this person would have had, at least beginning to, it says here, has beginning to learn the courage to stand apart from everyone else. So they've had some experience where, like, let's say, they've been through the process, and we're talking about lifetime to lifetime here. Even if you don't believe in reincarnation, it doesn't matter. The feeling will still be there. The feeling as if you've been here before. You've been here before where you've had the feeling of, do I or do I not have the courage to stand apart from other people when it comes to my own values regarding relationships? So now, you may have, with the first quarter phase, you may have the courage. You definitely should have the courage by now to willfully assert your individual values to all others who do not share in such values. Because maybe you've had the experience of going through this before, and you got it, and you feel like now you've got it wrong, you know you've got it wrong, you're ready to stand apart from everyone else. Now, in this phase, the crisis correlates to the soul's fear of forming relationships with others in general and intimate relationships specifically. The soul feels that if such relationships are formed, then their hard-won sense of individuality will become reabsorbed or lost into and because of the relationship. This fear will lead the soul to keep one hand waving free within the context of any kind of relationship. The soul attempts to guarantee its individuality by always leaving the back door open, so to speak. This can create real relationship conflicts for such a soul, especially in an intimate relationship, because the soul cyclically appears to totally engage, then totally disengage. Now, I want to focus on this phase. This is a phase of the square, more so than any other, because I have done an extensive amount of online dating, and this is the number one phase I find in females. I can only speak to females, but I'm willing to guess it's the same for males regarding online dating. And this would be the number one reason why, if you think online dating is trash, this is one of the major reasons why that would be the case, because you have the idea of individuality. It correlates with Uranus. It would correlate with someone using the internet. It's just the way it works. You can maintain your sense of individuality by getting into a relationship. The idea of getting into a relationship and then getting out. Getting into a relationship and saying, hey, I just met you. It's the internet. We've only been on 2 dates. I can find other dates so quickly. It's very easy to use that as your reasoning as to how this dynamic works and how to maintain this dynamic without coming to the conclusion of what you're actually doing. And here we have the idea of totally engaging and then totally disengaging. Of course, the internet allows you to do that. Engage in a relationship and then say, I'm done. I don't really want to talk to you anymore. And you'll never see them again, because the likelihood of you meeting them in person out in your daily social functions is rare. I'm not saying it can't happen, it's rare. The challenge in this phase is for the soul to realize that the individuality that has been established will not be lost. That this fear is a fear only, and to align with other individuals who have the same courage to project their own individuality in the face of the consensus. And this is the key for this square phase, and a lot of people will feel the need to use the internet as well. Also, the need to travel to different states to meet people, because you're looking for other people who also respond to the Uranian impulse, the impulse to be an individual, the impulse to think differently, the impulse to think like the impulse to think for yourself. And we know that most of the people are not aligned in this way, so you may have to use things like the internet, and you may have to travel in order to find someone else who's like that. Now, the discrimination process here is key, because you have to discriminate between the two, between you doing between a person just doing this first quarter phase dance and a person who can realize, okay, the dance is over. I've met the individual who is aligned like me. And I'm not saying to look for perfection. I'm just saying, generally speaking, I can tell more stories about this. Once you've found a person who's somewhat aligned like you in the ways that I described, now is the time to give up the dance. Give up this fear of losing your individuality, because this person, more likely than not, will understand, because they're wired just like you. So you can still disengage and not give that person up. So I'm going to leave that. We can speak on that for a long period of time, because we think of the squares being one of the, well, most people think it's the worst aspect in astrology. Yeah, because you could think of, even with the Mars-Venus square, you could think of people who are having a lot of, you think this would be the new phase. It could be the new phase, but also it could be the square phase here, with people having sex with people and then never talking to them again. That kind of thing going on. So now we move to the gibbous phase.